Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome, guys, to this live stream. My name is Yaqut Zaman. This is Roots of Knowledge, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic Friday, enjoying yourselves. Right, so week has gone by. Prayers for our brothers and sisters in Palestine and Gaza. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them relief from what they're going through. May Allah save them from the oppressors and strengthen the Muslims all around the world to support them. Right, so today, guys, is Friday. The weather's been very good. I actually cycled it this week. I cycled it, I think, every day. Alhamdulillah. Cycling it to work is good. And also, today, inshallah, I've got a talk at the conference. If you're going to be there, guys, I've got the first talk I'm going to be giving. Then I've got to go to work. Conference of Gaza for Gaza. So it's going to be held at Masjid Al-Falah. I don't know if it's going to be online. You'll have to try and find out from the Masjid Falah. So Masjid Falah in Aston. Right, so look for Masjid Falah in Aston, inshallah. All right, so let's have a look at your questions, guys. By the way, Curious Cat is back up. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, Curious Cat is back. All right, so. Okay, let me just go on to Instagram then. Just in case some Instagram people wanna come on. So give me a second, guys. Live Q&A. Okay, so Muniba wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Muhammad Talha, ahlan wa sahlan wa alaikum assalam. Can you elaborate inheritance rights of gay people and in general some Islam deals with them? So if a person who identifies themselves as gay and they believe that this is permissible, then technically that person has denied something in the religion, therefore they are out of the fold of Islam. So therefore they don't get the inheritance from a Muslim relative. That's basically what it is. Otherwise, they do. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ay ukht, ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome, guys. Welcome to this live stream. Okay. This is my tea, guys. I've got my tea over here. Here it is. This is the cup I've got. And inside of this, they've actually got the tea inside of this. Ahlan wa sahlan, Fresh Prince. Ahlan wa sahlan. Marhaban wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yeah, so unfortunately, the situation in Gaza hasn't really improved. It's got worse. And many casualties. Over 7,000 people now have been killed there. 7,000 people. That's why it's very important for us as Muslims to raise awareness, educate people about what's happening in Palestine, educate people about the Zionist regime, stay within the law, of course. Yeah, you learn what the law is regarding this, what your rights are, inshallah. Wa alaikum assalam, mashallah, jazakallah khair, my brother Yusuf, for your kind donation. May Allah bless you. Ameen. Question: can a person remortgage a property and take out equity for an extension instead of getting a bigger mortgage to buy a new house? So technically, the ruling for getting a mortgage is that it's not permissible. This would be the position, because it's based upon riba, interest. However, the scholars say that if a person has no other means of being able to get a house and renting for them is financially not feasible for them, then for them to get their property which they live in, there'd be permissibility for that. So in that kind of situation, it all depends on the in the situation. What I would suggest is email me, and then inshallah we can look at the details of that. But technically, kind of the straight answer would be no, not allowed. But then if there's a specific need for it to get the extension, if there's something very important for the family, as in a person won't be able to live in that kind of a property, it'll be too difficult, or the family is growing and it's not feasible anymore. May Allah subhanahu Ameen, Ameen, Jazakallah khair. Alhamdulillah, I'm benefiting from watching your Quran Tajweed video. It's really helpful. Alhamdulillah, MashaAllah. May Allah bless your recitation and your learning. Alhamdulillah, my brother Muhammad Talha. Zakir H, what city are you based in? I'm based in Birmingham. Birmingham, United Kingdom. Tamim alaykum assalam. Ahlan wa sahlan. Is Qunut Nazila in the Maghrib Salah according to Hanafi? No. Qunut Nazila is only for the Fajr Salat. Need to meet up, inshallah. I know, I've been so busy these past few days. So, inshallah, definitely we need to, Brother Yusuf. Inshallah. Oh yeah, with regards to your that question that you had regarding the setup, inshallah, contact me, inshallah. Hopefully on the weekend I should be able to. Weekend. Today, I've actually, as soon as I finish from here, I've got get my bayan ready. I've got a talk at the Gaza conference, and then after that I've got work, and then inshallah after that I'm going to go back to the Gaza conference, inshallah, and meet with the ulama. Wa alaikum assalam. How should we raise our hands when the imam does qunut? So according to Hanafis, you don't raise the hands. According to Hanafis, you keep your hands on the side. Yeah, that's the way the Hanafis say. If a person was to raise the hands, it wouldn't be considered to be too much of a problem. But technically, Hanafis should not raise their hands. What advice would someone who started her hifz and is struggling with learning 5 pages a day? Barakallahu feek. So, sister, I am not a hafiz, unfortunately. I would love to become one day, inshallah. My intention is to become a hafiz. But if there's anyone out there who can help, inshallah, what I would say is, when it comes to memorizing anything, always make your memorization something that is possible. Yeah. So in other words, if 5 pages a day seems too much, I mean, for an average person, normally I would assume maybe 1 page a day. Yeah, because you got to memorize, then you got to go over it as well. So what I would suggest is try to minimize it as much as you can, so that you can increase on that. So maybe you start off with 1 page a day, see how that works for a while, a few weeks, and then you can increase it to 2 pages. So like that, inshallah. Also, is online possible? I'm not sure. Assalamu alaikum. Who is Imam Shurun Bulali and any well-known works? Yes. Shurun Bulali is a Hanafi that came about 400 years ago. He has written Nur Idah and then a commentary on the Maraq al-Falah. He also has some hashiyas, some sort of what do you call them? Glossaries on some of the books. That's fine. I will drop you a message, inshallah. Is there a genuine tension between Jews and Muslims? I hear Muslims criticize Jews. None at all. There are no problems between Jews and Muslims. Jews and Muslims used to live side by side in Muslim Spain for many years, and it's no problem. In fact, in the Quran, Allah allows for a Muslim man to marry a Jewish woman. So therefore, how can it be problematic, a problem between Jews and Christian Muslims? What seems to have happened is that culturally, or maybe in certain contexts, there has been tension between them in certain areas. And that tension has now become stereotyped now. So people have taken that particular tension between certain groups. Maybe there were certain groups, movements of Jews, and there were certain Muslims. And then they kind of sort of, you can say, exaggerated it, I would say. Yeah, that's what I would say. Like, for example, before Zionism, before the Zionism movement, I don't know what other movements existed before that with regards to Jews, but Muslims, when they were kicked out of Spain, Muslims of Turkey had invited the Jews to come and live there. So I think what tends to happen, some Muslim communities, they have this sort of like stereotype view of certain communities, and maybe they might just use the word Jew. This guy's an agent of the Jews or whatever, and it's used in an incorrect way. Yeah, so we've got to be very careful. Remember, Muslims have to be just. If Zionists, because remember, Zionist does not necessarily mean Jew. Anyone who is in support of this movement, that is, Zionism is considered to be something which is very problematic today, because the agendas are very clear now, starting to become very clear. And this includes many Jews and many Christians as well, and many others who are supporting the atheists. There's a lot of atheists supporting the Zionist movement. Omar Zahid, wa alaikum assalam. Great, Jazakallah khair, Omar Zahid, Ameen. Thank you for your kind du'as. 5 pages a week. Okay, so do you have memorization problems? Do you find that memorization is not your strong point? If that's the case, then you need to decrease your amount. Imams are making nazila in Jummah Salah also. So that would be according to other madhabs. Other madhabs allow it, Hanafis don't allow it. You know, unless the Imam of the masjid, maybe he's not, adhering to Hanafi position, maybe. Is making dua in congregation after Salah permissible? Yes. Sometimes, yes, it's permissible. The issue is, if a person believes that this is necessary to do it in this particular manner, this fashion, then it's problematic, then it's not allowed. So if someone says, this is necessary, you need to make a congregation dua after Salat, then that would not be allowed. Otherwise, doing it, no problem. Muniba, some Muslims are calling out for the establishment of the caliphate as the only solution to Palestine-Israel war and also the wider problems that exist in the Muslim world. What is your view? How did the scholars in the past do this? So, generally, look, if you think about, I mentioned this before as well, if you think about any situation, if any group or organization or community wants to live according to their values and principles, the governing body that the overarching governing body that governs them has to be in line with their beliefs, right? So that's why it just makes sense. If you want to live in a society which is a Christian, based orientated society, you need to have a Christian government. If you want to have a society which is obviously secular, you need to have a secular government. If you want to have a society which is going to be fruitful for the Muslims, you need to have a Muslim government. That's how it works. It's just logical, straightforward. So that would make sense. Yes, of course. It makes sense to have a government that is not just Muslim, but it also is obviously, it holds the same values as the Muslim population and it implements them. That's what it is. So most of the problems in the world, if you kind of look at hadith, generally the Prophet ﷺ, he encouraged people to live under a Muslim majority rule. That's what he's encouraged throughout his life. Moving to Medina, establishing over there a system over there. That just makes sense. Yes, of course, a Muslim live outside of a Muslim state? Yes, they can live. But this is where the problems can arise when that state is not facilitating for the Muslim their beliefs and their practices. That's when it becomes problematic. So we've seen that in history with the Spanish, when the Spanish Inquisition overtook the Muslims and took over Spain. This is where it became the extreme version of living under someone who is oppressive, Islamophobic, or even just any phobia to any sort of Semitic religions besides Christianity. How do the scholars in the past years? Yeah, definitely. It makes sense. I mean, I would not understand if someone said to me that it is better to live in a non-Muslim country. I would say it doesn't make sense. Of course, if it's a Muslim country where the rulers are oppressive, where the rulers are not facilitating for Muslims to be able to live according to their laws, then that obviously makes sense that you shouldn't be living there. But generally, this is the idea. Do you teach online also? No, I don't teach online. I don't. Only to my patrons who are my special, wonderful people that support my channel. Then, so some of them who are the higher tier ones, I have like a once a week or twice a week, once a week or once a month or twice a month session for them. Ahmed Dahir, alaikum assalam. Adam Ad-Dakali, when Imam makes dua in khutbah, should we raise our hands for dua? So according to the Hanafis, no. Other madhabs have ikhtilaf in this, but Hanafis say you stay silent because the Prophet ﷺ said, when the Imam gets on the mimbar, when the Imam comes out, then there should be no speech and there should be no salat. And the Hanafis say that includes making any sounds at all. Wa alaikum assalam. Adam Ahlan is speaking ill of open sinners, politicians who are anti-Muslim, etc. No, that wouldn't be. If they're openly doing these kind of things, then this does not fall in the backbiting. Any books and article on fiqh or backbiting when it's allowed? Fiqh of backbiting, I'm not too sure, but I think Mufti Ibn Adam has actually written something on this in detail. Right, so if you Google backbiting Mufti Ibn Adam, I think something might come up. But besides that, there's a lot of Arabic works. If you look in Ma'arif al-Quran, which is the tafsir in English, and you look in Surah Hujurat, the ayah of backbiting, in there he's mentioned many rulings regarding it. So that might be interesting to you. Is celebrating birthdays permissible? Yes. If so, why? If not, why? So the deleels don't work like that. So if you say why or why no, so basically the default state is everything is allowed unless proven otherwise. That's the default. Like if someone says, "Are deers allowed? Can you eat deers?" So you can eat deer. What's the dalil for it? Well, the dalil is that everything on earth Allah has made halal. Likewise, birthday should be allowed. So that's basically it. So technically, there is no reason for why the birthday, because the birthday has no connotations with any evil practice or any specific religious, beliefs. So that's fine. Muhammad Huda wa alaikum assalam. I wanted to also ask the one who sins, can Allah forgive him? Inshallah, if he is truly sincere, if he's really sincere and he apologizes to Allah. What are the key points of misconception do you think people have when it comes to Islam and LGBT, and what should we take note of? I don't know, I'm not too sure. I think, obviously, it depends who you're speaking to. Muslims should understand having sort of sexual tendencies towards another gender or the same gender is something which people might get. But acting upon them, following them up is impermissible. We are not allowed to follow them up. That's the issue. Yeah. And, obviously we condemn the practice of a person who does sodomy. But I think you need to understand that Muslims need to be educated regarding their own religion, first of all. Maybe there's some people who have sexual tendencies towards the same gender. They don't know what Islam says about it. Or they might have heard a misconstrued, a twisted version of it. So I think that needs to be. Otherwise, if there's anyone else that maybe can help Amma. Why are Muslim women not allowed to marry believing Jews or Christians? So the ruling basically is that in Islam, see, the marriage, the family unit is headed by the male. This is generally how family units work around the world historically. The male is the one that protects the family. The male is the one that you can almost consider like the pillar of the family. This is what he should be doing. He should be protecting the family. He should be providing for the family. That's what his duty should be. So that's why his religion is usually the religion which is adopted by the family. That's the way that the religion works in the unit. So this is why, if that is the system, if there is a setup like that, then it is permissible for the man to marry a Jewish woman, because even if they have children, the children will be unaffected by the mother's religion. It'll be the father's religion that will be the dominant, especially in a Muslim society. That's the idea. And the woman, she generally gets subsumed into the male's, the husband's beliefs. Brother, do you teach online? No, I don't. What is the best, mashallah, jazakallah khair, bima, ahla wa sahlan, my brother. What is the best way to study books like Usul al-Shashi and Nukhbat al-Fikr? So, my brother Aziz, I would say before you study Nukhbat al-Fikr, I've actually got a course on, if you email me, I can give you access to it. It's free of charge, no payment for it. It's 22 lessons. We go through Usul al-Hadith. Then after that, study Nukhbat al-Fikr. That would be the best way to approach it. Same Usul al-Shashi, I've got a Usul, but this one's a paid one. Usul al-Shashi, I've got a paid course before you do Usul al-Shashi. It's about 28 lessons. And once you learn that, going into Usul al-Shashi makes things very easy, inshallah. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan, my brother Bima, jazakallah khair, very kind donation. Hudaira, how many videos do you think are left of your Mukhtasar al-Quduri series? So I've done about half the book. So if I've done about 160 odd videos, that means probably half left. Yeah, maybe altogether there might be about 300 odd videos, inshallah. What is the opinion on Alim of Alim? What is the opinion of Alim on Ya'juj Ma'juj location? No one knows. Allah knows only. Only Allah knows. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Be good. Is there anything detailed to read on rulings of music? I think there's a book written by Khalid Beg called Slippery Slope. I haven't read it myself. I've heard a lot of people mentioning about it. That's one book that's written on the topic discussion. Yeah. But I don't know if anyone else has written something more comprehensive. There are obviously scholars who are for permitting musical instruments and those who are against it. So you're going to find those who are for and those who are against. How do you deal with uncertainty regarding the future? Tawakkul in Allah, trust in Allah. That's why we have trust in Allah. Alhamdulillah, tawakkul, trust in Allah. Anything that is going to happen to you in the future, do not worry. Get your mind trained to not worry about it. Just think to yourself, Allah will take care of everything. Allah, whatever happens is going to happen. And that Allah will take care of everything, inshallah. So this is called tawakkul in Allah, trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is a very important thing Muslims need to get themselves. A lot of people have anxiety because they find it hard to implement tawakkul in Allah. Yeah, tawakkul in Allah is like you're on the sea and then you just let the wind blow you whichever direction you're going to go in. And if you want to go in one direction and the wind is coming in another, you try your best. And if you can't do it, then you let the winds take you. That's the idea. Is sadal allowed in Hanafi madhab? So if a person was to put, sadal is basically putting your hands on the side. If a person puts their hands on the side in salat in Hanafi school, the salat would be valid, but it would be considered to be disliked because the sunnah posture is to fold the arms. So that's basically the answer. Will you begin with online lessons? No, I don't think so. Do parents get access to the full Quduri you've covered for? No. So patrons get access to videos I put up. So I put up like videos from various subjects. At the moment, I'm putting up videos of Aqidah, Tahawiyah, and Surah Ma'idah. I'm going through Surah Ma'idah. AC wa alaikum assalam, ahlan wa sahlan. Are you doing a talk at today's? Yes, inshallah. I'm going to do a talk for about 10 minutes or so, and then I'm going to leave. So my talk is going to be around about 7:30ish, inshallah. About 7:30 is my talk, and then I'm going to leave for classes. Are wedding rings permissible? I have heard some say it is imitating disbelievers. If not, how could one explain this to a non-Muslim? They are permissible, yeah. They will be permissible. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Saqib. Ahlan wa sahlan. Before studying Mi'atu Amil by Abdul Qahir al-Jurjani, rahimahullah, what should one need to study, Ustad? Study Nahu first. What I would suggest is, like I have a course which is called the Quranic Arabic 17 Lessons that a person can do. That would be basically the best thing to do is first of all learn Nahu, and then after that study Tarkib in that detail. Depends how the teacher teaches Mi'at Amil, I would say. Also, how much Arabic are you reading? That's a very important question. How much storybooks are you reading? So if you've seen on that Telegram, I put up pictures of some kids' storybooks. Right, so those are like storybooks that a person, when they're studying Arabic grammar, they should be studying Arabic text on the side, storybooks on the side. So it all depends, Muhammad, how it's taught. Thank you. You're welcome. What's the definition of beard according to Hanafi? So definition of beard is the hair that grows on the jaws. HZ, when praying in the masjid, if the sound system breaks down and we can't listen to the imam anymore, what should we do? So what you should do is you should estimate in your mind when you think the imam has gone to ruku and sujood, and let him do that, and then you do all the actions. So let's say, for example, I'm praying salat, the mic goes off in, let's say, for example, in the second rakat. So what I do now, I just pause for a long time, and then after that, I will just do ruku and sujood, and then give my salam, because your actions are occurring after the imam's actions. As long as your actions have occurred after his, your salat's valid. Otherwise, if you're confused, break your salat and then pray your salat on your own. Why do Muslim men have to keep beards? A non-Muslim asked me this question and I didn't know how to answer it. God has commanded. However, I feel it isn't always. So there are certain things, features that need to be distinguished in men than women. So people who naturally have hair growing on their beards should be able to display that. And that is a kind of way of distinguishing men from female. If the line between males and females is blurred too much, what it can lead to is people being attracted to the same gender. That's also another problem as well. So this is why, like in Islam, resembling the other gender is prohibited. So we don't resemble the other gender. There's a particular reason why gold and silk are impermissible for men. Yes, because the Prophet ﷺ said. So when it comes to these kind of rulings, see, like, why is pork prohibited? We don't know. Allah has banned us to eat pork, but we have no idea why pork is banned. So there are certain things, the depth of our understanding might not be able to reach it. So some scholars say, for example, wearing of the silk for men, because this is an imitation of the women's clothing. Some say that the gold is also something which the jewelry, only women adorn themselves. Men should not be adorning themselves. So there's various reasons scholars give, but we don't exactly 100% know. The Prophet ﷺ banned us, and that's it. If it is that important, why is descent to the Prophet Isa and Dajjal not mentioned directly in the Quran? The Quran indicates towards this. The Quran doesn't mention everything in detail. That's what you have to understand. That's why the Prophet ﷺ was sent to explain the Quran. Now, the Dajjal is not going to be significant for every Muslim. There's lots of generations that will never see the Dajjal, will have no impact, no contact with the Dajjal. But Isa alayhi salam's coming is something which obviously is also something mentioned in the Quran as well. وَإِنَّهُ لَعَلَمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ, according to one qira'ah. Indeed, he is a sign. Isa alayhi salam, according to tafsir, is a sign of the Day of Judgment. So not everything has to appear in the Quran. That's a misconception people have, that they believe everything has to be in the Quran in order for it to be correct. Is Sheikh Abdul Rahim Limbada and Sheikh Bilal scholars we should listen to? They seem fine. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. When will you continue Fawzul Kabir Ustad? I don't know, not at the moment. Maybe in the future, inshallah. Jalla wa alaikum assalam. May Allah bless you. I have learned how to read Quran from you. Quran has, alhamdulillah, my brother Jello. May Allah bless you and your family. Jazakallah khair. Can you make a series going through Nul Idha and another on Maraqi as-Sa'adat? Not at the moment, but inshallah maybe in the future. Maybe, because at the moment I'm going through Quduri at the moment. So I do Quduri and Hidayah. These are two fiqh texts I do on a weekly basis. Hidayah, I have a private class for that, which is free of charge for anyone to join. It takes place on Wednesdays at 10:30 in the evening UK time. Wednesdays, 10:30 UK time. Okay, let's check out Insta. Okay, Instagram is saying, Wa alaikum assalam, F. Bint Sadiq. I pray well. May I ask, what mahar is more closer to Sunnah mahar? Azwajun Nabi Sallallahu Mahar Fatimi. They're all close to Sunnah. Whichever one you want to give. Yeah, whichever one. So when we say which is close to Sunnah, the Prophet Sallallahu he gave his wives certain amount of mahar, and Fatima radiallahu anha. So mahar is according to your capacity, your capability. If a person was to give more than the amount the Prophet Sallallahu gave, many Sahaba gave more than that. Many Sahaba gave less than that. So both would be considered to be permissible. I would say the woman should, for herself, remember the whole point of the mahar is financial stability. That if something happens in the marriage, at least the woman's got some money to fall back on. That's the whole idea. So women need to think about that. When you're getting married, think about it, that this money is not barakah. It's not like, oh, this is just symbolic. This money is no. This money actually is supposed to be there. If, for example, something happens, so you have enough with you. Maybe you might say, look, for me, I need about £2,000 or £3,000. That's how much I need. Like if something was to happen, at least I know I've got some backup here. That's the idea. Do you teach different maqamat? No, I don't. Also, my brother, question, since gold and giving ring out spouse is not obligation, can the girl still ask for it before marriage, as generally women like ring and gold? Yes. If the family want to give it, then that's fine. Just like women can request mahar, inshallah. So the ring, now, if you ask for a ring, and then they say this is going to go to, they believe this is going to go towards the mahar, then it's part of the mahar. But you can ask for it, it's a gift. You can ask your friend for some gifts if they want to give you. But it's not necessary for them to give. Uh, what is tarkib, Ustad? Tarkib is Arabic i'rab. In Arabic, we call it i'rab. It's like the breakdown, grammatical breakdown of Arabic sentences. If I pass an exam, people often tell me to thank Allah for doing well. Was my hard work not for the reason for this? What role did Allah play in this? I worry as I don't want to be blasphemous. Did Allah give you eyes? Yes. Did Allah give you the ability to see? Yes. Did Allah give you the ability to move your arms, to read, to think? Did Allah give you the education? Did Allah inspire you to be able to this? So what happens is, behind the scenes, we do not see what Allah is doing, and we forget about it. Who is making your heart pump at night time? Who is making the blood flow to your brain? Who is making the cells in your body regenerate? Who is making all the toxins in your body escape through your gut? Who is making all these things happen? Allah is. So behind the scenes, Allah is doing everything to facilitate for you what you need. So if you have passed your exam, in reality, you thank Allah, because if it wasn't for Allah, you wouldn't have passed your exam. Does that make sense? So why I would say, Amma, is learn about Allah. Read the translation of the Quran. Honestly, a lot of Muslims do not read the translation of the Quran, and it results in them not recognizing who Allah is. They understand Allah as just like some force in the universe. That's it. Unconscious force in the universe, like atheists do. Or for example, like someone will just say, "Oh, God just created us, and that's it now." Or they'll say things like, "Oh, God doesn't know what's happening." So these are all things we don't believe in. We believe in whatever the Quran has come with. Can a person be held accountable if he didn't know the ruling? If number in Hadith Sahih Bukhari Muad, kill a Jew who apostated? I don't know, my brother. I don't know. So unfortunately, I don't know what you're talking about, brother. If you can clarify more. Is it better that you pray the voluntary prayers at home? Is it better that you pray the voluntary prayers at home? According to the Hadith, that you should not make your house void of prayers. So the scholars say that this means voluntary prayers should be prayed at home as much as possible. I have read a hadith in which it is mentioned women are deficient in intelligence. That's incorrect. That's a wrong translation. Yeah, that's a wrong translation of the hadith. The hadith mentions that they are naqisatul aql. Aql means they are deficient in being able to reason in times of emotion. So if something happens in your family, women generally start crying. Women become very emotional, and they find it hard to be able to think what to do. Whereas men, they basically can think quite straight, generally. That's what the hadith meant. أهلا وسهلا مفتي مولانا عمر فاروق. أهلا وسهلا. شيخ قراءة علم للساعة Iran. Oh yeah, I remember him. Ya Allah, fitna. When the fitna, everyone used to listen to. How are you, Mufti Sab? Everything good? Everything good at Jamiat Rashid, and how's Hazrat and everyone? Nice, very nice, guys. When you're sitting in Jamiat Rashid in the evening time, mashallah, so nice. Real basic. Assalamu alaikum. How should it be our relationship with Christians and Jews, since they still believe we should treat them well? Just like historically Muslims have treated the Christians and Jews well. And that's how we should treat. Learn your history, guys. Learn the Quran, guys. Please, please, please. Learn the Quran. Learn Muslim history. You will learn so much, honestly. You will learn so much. Any easy tafsir kitab in Arabic? Safwatul Tafasir is very easy to follow. Safwatul Tafasir. Is leaving the Sunnah prayers allowed in Hanafi madhab? If you leave it continuously, there is fear of you being considered sinful. Tell me the best way how to speak Arabic fluently. What you need to do, my sister, Fatima, is you need to speak with other people. Start speaking with other people. Have you learnt Arabic before? You're welcome, Bint Siddiq. Jazakallah khair, mashallah, Muhammad Huda. Thank you for your kind donation. May Allah bless you. May Allah put barakah in your health, your wealth, your time. You're welcome, Han. A follow-up from a role Allah plays in exam passing. You asked who is causing cells to generate blood to go around the body. What if someone said it's a normal physiological body on genetics? Yeah, good question. So if someone says, okay, who makes your cells, who makes the cells regenerate? So you would say, well, first of all, who has put inside that cell the ability to regenerate? Where has that come from? Does that make sense? So when scientists, they look at things from according to like a very specific form of science, materialism. That's why they look at science. And they only see things according to what they can see. That's what the Quran says about these people. It says, ذَلِكَ مَبْلَغُهُم مِّنْ الْعِلْمِ. Their knowledge is limited to their own observation. That's what it is. They don't realize that behind that, they don't have answers for these things. How is it that a cell is able to regenerate in the shape that it's able to regenerate and not in another shape? Does that make sense? So we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we believe as Muslims that Allah is the one who creates all this. If you want really good explanations for this Amma, what I would suggest, Sapiens Institute. Go to Sapiens, and they've got all of what you're talking about. They have articles on this, videos on this, where they explain all these. Because these are all atheist arguments, these are. Atheist thinks this, that I only believe in whatever I can see, or whatever my instruments can detect. And then beyond that, it's just theory. So imagine an atheist is basically someone who is living in this bubble, this observational bubble of hearing and seeing. So there's one circle bubble around him, which is whatever he can hear and see. And then there's another bubble around him, which whatever the instruments he's made can detect. And then beyond that, he doesn't know. Like if you ask an atheist who created the universe, they say, no one did. It came itself. Say, how did it come itself? Like explain how. And then they're quite a theory, aren't they? So that theory basically means they don't know. So their knowledge is based upon taking data. So outside of their own personal observations, they take data, and that data is basically assorted into whatever they want it to come out as. And then they say, well, this is what happened. As Muslims, we believe Allah created everything. Allah is doing everything behind the scenes. And inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will allow everything to continue as well. But the thing is, we can't see how Allah does things. We can't see it. That's why in the Quran Allah mentions about the sun and the moon and the stars and the water cycle and how the animals produce milk from their udders. All these things that I mentioned in the Quran, all of these things indicate towards this. That's why I would definitely say, Amma, read the Quran honestly, study the Quran. A Muslim who doesn't study the Quran will definitely start to get confused. Study it with someone. But like I said, go to Sapiens Institute. Can a person who does fahsha in private continue to be an imam, or does this sin prevent him? No, he can carry on. He should do tawbah to Allah. He should ask Allah to help him to stop doing that thing. Could you recommend books to read about Aqidah? How should a beginner study Aqidah? Start off with learning Quran first. Honestly, very important. Quran is so important. Average Muslim doesn't know what's in the Quran, besides a few ayats. If your only interaction with Quran is what you hear in a talk, bayan, then unfortunately, shame on you. I would say, shame on you. You have this book. You can take out time to learn, even if it's an ayah a day, one ayah a day. What does it mean? I've got a whole series on learning on the Quran. And I go through, and I've reached up to, 100, verse 170 or something in Surah Baqarah. I'll try to explain. Go through that. Go through those. You can find other scholars as well who go through the Quran. Definitely, I would definitely recommend it. And you see, the reality is always going to be playing a tennis match with other people when it comes to religion, unless we start to actively learn our religion properly. That's what's going to happen. It's just going to be a tennis match. How do we know we're right? How do we know they're right? Back and forth, back and forth. Right, next. MSP, The Journey of Certain by Dr. Iyad Qunaybi on YouTube is very good for exposing the falsehood of atheism. Jazakallah khair. Maybe check that out, Amma. As Muslims living in the West, what is our responsibility in the revival of the caliphate? So do we need to revive a caliphate? That's the question. Like, where does it say that we have to revive a caliphate? That would be the important thing to start off from. Where does it say that we have to revive a caliphate? Once we understand the original position, then we can work towards that. Alaikum assalam, jazakallah khair, mashallah, Ryan, mashallah, Rayan, ahlan wa sahlan, may Allah bless you, may Allah put barakah in your time, your effort, for your kind donation towards my channel. Means a lot, bro. Am I wrong if I insist on having wudu and being in respectful place when picking up a hadith book or in salat salam? That's very good. That is a noble act, and inshallah it's going to be rewarding. Very good, inshallah. Keep doing it. Do you have any recommendation of starting commentary or explanation of the Quran? Because sometimes I read some in English about people of Israel or the story which I don't understand the context. Yes, that's why I said when it comes to reading the Quran, very important, I would say, to study the Quran from someone. Very important. Because exactly what you're saying can happen. Sometimes you might read a translation, you might misconstrue it. What I would say is a very easy one to follow is a book called, translation called The Gracious Quran. Gracious Quran is very good to follow, inshallah. Yeah, so if you go through the Gracious Quran, then inshallah, you're going to find it very enjoyable as well. The English is very nice. Okay. Okay, no, Fatima, I know all grammar, but I can't able to speak because there's nobody. So what you can do is try to find people and make yourself like a WhatsApp group. Try to find other sisters. Ideally, with sisters, it's going to be easier. Try to find other sisters and then make yourself a group who are motivated to learn the Arabic language. And then you start with each other speaking, writing. That's how you motivate yourselves, inshallah. How is Quran a miracle for non-Arabic speakers? So, does the Quran have to be a miracle for everyone? That's the question. For vast majority of Muslims, it doesn't need to be a miracle because people understand the purpose of the Quran. They understand, right? And they can go on. How is the Quran? I would suggest go to Sapiens Institute. They've got an article, very nice, a few articles on exactly that topic what you're talking about now. Very detailed. I'm going to have to go in a bit anyway. So, but generally, things like, for example, the Quran mentioning like how a society should develop. Quran mentioning things that the Jews and Christians themselves were unaware of about their own religious texts. So these are kind of things that you can look into. First step to study Quran is certain simple tafsir we should, so Gracious Quran is a very easy one to follow. Easy Quran is also one to follow as well. Can women be the Khalifas? If not, do we know why? So look, roles are very important in society. Yeah, so roles are very important. And the roles everyone plays is based upon their mental and their physical capability. Like, for example, if you had an empty position of a general or a guy leading an army, what would be the ideal person for that position? Someone who's mentally strong, someone who's physically strong. Of course, isn't it? So you're not going to get someone who is a weakling or someone who's emotionally, vulnerable to take that position. Same thing is when you're leading a country, you have to remember you're going to come across situations where you're going to be against another country. You're going to have to deal with rebels in your own country. You're going to have to deal with crime and things like that. So you're going to have someone who's. That's why this would only be ideal for the man. Man is the only one that can take this role and fulfill it in the best way possible. Women can do it, but the women will get into a situation where they may become too emotional because the individual who's at the top, the leadership, would be autonomous. That's the thing. So a lot of people don't understand it because we're living in a society where everyone, like even superheroes now, are women now, superheroes, because there is this kind of like a mix in between. What I would recommend to listen to, there's a talk by Sheikh Abdul Murad Hakim on, I think it's called Star Wars or something. Star Wars, on that lines. Check it out. It's very good. It's talking about this whole idea of the West trying to push women into these roles, which they're not naturally made for. Please do know someone online courses about Middle East and Islamic studies. I only know master's degree programs in that field. Okay, inshallah, I will try. I have a friend in Pakistan. I don't know if you know how to speak Urdu. I have a friend in Pakistan who actually teaches online. I think he charges maybe like about £5 half an hour. Yeah, so if you're interested, I can give you details for him. But generally, I don't really know anyone that teaches online Middle East about a course on Middle East Islamic studies. Said to study the Quran with someone. Do you have a book class recommendation? I live near Birmingham too, if that helps. In Birmingham, there's quite a few masjids that actually teach. Sorry. There's quite a few masjids that actually teach masajid. I think Green Lane, they have a Quran class by Sheikh. What's his name? Sheikh Hanif, I forgot his name now. Yeah, he has a class. He's very good, mashallah. Juma Mubarak, my brother, you're welcome. Jazakallah khair. And Juma Mubarak to you as well. Alaikum assalam. If someone asks, can I convert and be non-binary? How do we deal with such people? I have no idea. It's a good question. Honestly, I have no idea how we go about that, because it's a tough one. It requires scholars to get together and decide how we work with this. But if they are whatever gender they're born with, that's how we treat them. Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ameen, Jazakallah khair, Muhammad. Adam Al-Dakali. Arabic learners, Fatima, there is a Telegram group with 5,000 plus Arabic learners. There is almost 20 of a voice call and can join to practice speaking Arabic. Allah sisters as well. If allowed, I can link. I don't know how the link would work. But if you maybe, I don't know, leave the link in the comments, not these comments, but the comments after the video finishes. If you sneeze during the Jummah khutbah or whilst you are praying salah, do you say it? No, you don't. All right, guys, I am going to finish it there. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much for tuning in. I have to go now because I have to start preparing for my talk in the evening. I will see you guys next time, inshallah. Tomorrow, inshallah, I have a live stream at 9:45 in the evening, so you guys can join that, inshallah, UK time. And hope you guys have a wonderful Friday. Remember me in your du'as. Remember our brothers and sisters in Palestine, in Gaza, in du'as as well. All right, guys, take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.